Hey guys, good to see you. I hope you're working hard. I'm sorry I'm not there, but I know many of you have sent me kind emails and told me you completely understand. So just because I'm not there doesn't mean we can't start remembering some concepts for our next unit and moving forward, right? Because we really got to move forward. So yesterday I asked you to tell me everything you know about perimeter, and many of you did that. In fact, lots of you did that. And you know a lot about perimeter. And many of you told me what you know about area. And again, you know a lot about area. And the reason why these things are important is because we're moving towards another unit of measure, which we call volume. And that'll probably be early, Monday of next week when we start studying volume. Okay, but just for a quick recap, a couple of things I need to make sure you really remember is first, let's talk about perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around a shape, right? The figure could be two-dimensional or it could be the base of a three-dimensional solid. So if you look at something like this, it's a three-dimensional shape, right? You might be asked to find the perimeter of the base, okay? The distance around the base or the distance around one of the faces, okay? It's still perimeter if it's the distance around part of the object, okay? Distance, perimeter is always measured in linear units. And so I wanted you to notice that that word linear has a root word of line. We're finding the line around a shape, okay? And perimeter is always measured in linear units, which means we're just going to have something like 20 inches or 20 feet or 20 yards or 20 meters, okay? It's a linear measure. And so if we look at a shape like this rectangle and we notice the dimensions are 3 inches by 4 inches, and we're asked to find the perimeter, we can imagine the shape like opening up, right? Us cutting it and laying everything out side by side. And if we did that, it would look something like this, right? So look again, here it is all closed up into a two-dimensional rectangle. But if we wanted to imagine the perimeter, it's the distance around a shape. So we could literally just stretch a string out and go, okay, the section is 3 inches, 4 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. What is the perimeter of this shape? Hopefully you said 14, right? 4 plus 3 is 7, and then I could double that and I would have 14 inches. Notice it's just plain inches, okay? Because we're talking about perimeter, the distance around a shape. So we can find the distance around any kind of shape. It doesn't just have to be quadrilaterals. We could find the distance around a triangle, a rhombus. I'm not sure how many sides this one is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Woo, somebody look up what that is. What type of shape a 12-sided shape is. But if we knew the length of one of the sides, we could easily figure out what the perimeter of this shape is, right? Because they all sides do look congruent in this shape. We could even find the perimeter of this shape if we knew the distance around the different side units, the lengths of each side. So perimeter isn't just about quadrilaterals or squares or rectangles or rhombuses. It's about any kind of shape. We can find the distance around. So a couple of things I need to make sure you know. The word dimensions is important. Okay, this is a two-dimensional shape that we're looking at here, this blue shape on the screen. The dimensions are 2 units by 5 units. It has 2 dimensions, length and width. Okay, this shape is a 3-dimensional shape, right? It not only has length and width, but it also has something we call height, right? How tall or how many layers tall this shape is. And we're going to start that on Monday. So make sure 3-dimensional shape has 3 dimensions, length, width, and height. All we're talking about today are 2-dimensional shapes, and those would just be length and width, okay? So to find perimeter, you need to know a couple of different strategies, not just one strategy, okay? You're responsible for knowing and understanding different strategies for finding perimeter. So to find perimeter, Some people might literally just count the tile lengths around the edge of the rectangle. So in this case, they might start in the upper left-hand corner and just go, okay, this is 1 unit, 2 units, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and now I'm back to the beginning. I always think about this as like the ladybug approach, where if you start in the upper left-hand corner and your little ladybug walks all the way around the shape, how many units does your ladybug walk around? And so she's counting, that's 1, and that's 2, and that's 3, so on and so forth until she gets to 14 units. Another way to figure out or calculate the perimeter of the shape is to take the length and add it twice, right? So 5 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2. Or some of you might say 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5. Any of those combinations, right? And that 2 would find you the perimeter of the shape. Length plus width, or some combination thereof would find you the perimeter of this rectangle. Another way to find it is to double the length plus double the width. So if you think about it, you've got 2 lengths, right? Well, if you know this one's 5, you could just double the 5 because there's 2. 5 times 2, that's doubling. And then the length, this side is 2, this side is 2. So we've got 2 2s. We could just double them, 2 times 2, right? And again, we would get a perimeter of 14 units. Okay, so that takes care of perimeter. But what about area? So area is the surface, the amount of space something takes up, the carpet, the hardwood floors, the color tiles, if we're building something, right? It's just the surface area, the space something takes up. And so wallpaper, if you're talking about a house, okay? So to measure or to calculate the area, we need to know the 2 dimensions of our shape. We need to know the length and the width. And then when we do that, we multiply them together and we calculate the area. Important to know that when you find area, it's always measured in square units or, and I'm going to kind of highlight that for you so you see it. It's measured in square units or units squared. Okay, so if your units of measure are inches, your answer will be in like 20 inches squared or 20 square inches. Okay, different than perimeter. Remember, perimeter was just linear. So it would, if our answer was 20, it would be 20 inches for perimeter. But if we're talking about area, we have to let our reader know that we're talking about the space something takes up. And so we'll say 20 inches squared or 20 square inches. Okay. So let's look down here at another discussion question. So if we're looking at this shape, and if we're in 3rd grade, for example, when we were first learning about area, we would literally just count the number of tiles. We might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 12 color tiles. That's the area. Okay, but now that we know a more efficient way, we can multiply. We can multiply 3 inches times 4 inches, which gets us, remember, we have to have the right units, 12 inches squared or 12 square inches. We know that they're measuring in inches here. These are 1-inch tiles. So our correct answer would be 12 inches squared or 12 square inches. It's also common that you'll see 12 with the little word inches and a little 2 floating in the air. That signifies square inches as well. Okay, so I think my last, one more important concept. Remember, we talked about finding the perimeter of a face or a base on a 3-dimensional shape. You may be asked to find the area of the base of a 3-dimensional shape. So if you're looking at this, and imagine maybe that this is a fish tank, and I want to know the area of the base because I want to add rocks to the bottom. Well, it would help me find the area if I knew the length and the width of the base, right? So I could multiply 4 times 3 and tell you that the base is 12 inches squared. Okay, 4 times 3 is 12. And it's just the area of the base. It's just the bottom part of this fish tank. Next week, we're going to talk about how much water it would take to fill this up. Okay, so then we're going to talk about volume, our third dimension, which would be height, right? Something totally different. So we would measure the length and the width and then the height. Save that for next week though, okay? So make sure that when you're thinking about area, you're thinking about a two-dimensional shape, just multiplying the length times width. Or if you're thinking about a three-dimensional shape, you're just thinking about the space on one of the faces or the base, okay? So for today's assignment, you're going to have something in Canvas, something in Seesaw, a Seesaw activity for you to do. Probably 3 or 4 questions. I can't remember which, but it covers perimeter and area again. And then there's a Canvas quiz, 4-question quiz. You get 2 chances on it. So I would really encourage you to take your notes, sketch some of the diagrams out. Like if they tell you this is a rectangular football field, you might want to sketch a quick football field and write the dimensions down before you just randomly guess at one of the answer choices, right? So I think that's it. I do want to ask you to work really hard for me tomorrow while I'm out. I had my 4th period class who kind of really let me down. That was kind of a bummer because a lot of kids didn't do the seesaw activity. Okay, I don't know what they did. They didn't do the Jamboard either. And I checked their Dreambox and they didn't do the Dreambox. So something tells me they just kind of took the afternoon off. And that's not right, y'all. That's not, I'm taking the time off because I had a death in my family. But really, if your teacher's out, that doesn't mean you stop learning, okay? You've got to keep moving forward. And that's why I'm recording videos and trying to help you keep motivated and keep moving forward. So for today, you watch the video, you'll do a seesaw activity, you'll do a Canvas quiz, and then start jumping on those dream boxes, okay? You need 5 this week. I did update the Dreambox grades for last week. And if you forgot and didn't put it in Canvas, I went in and put it for you so you can check your grade in Canvas. Basically, if you did 5 Dreambox, you got 100. If you did 4, you got a 90. If you did 3, you got an 80. If you did 2, you got a 70. If you did 1, you got a 60. If you did 0, you got a 0. Okay? So it's real important that's going in the grade book. So 5 Dreambox, and some of you have already knocked out your 5 for the week because you took you used your time wisely yesterday. I really, really hope my 4th period class steps up tomorrow because that was really disappointing. It really let me down. And I didn't like to see that. Everybody else, y'all did amazing, and I so appreciate that. So I will be back Thursday. We'll do more perimeter and area on Thursday, and then next week we'll start volume. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys. Bye.